Hey, what's up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What's going on, man? What's cracking, man? What's going on, everybody? Man, come on in here. What's up? Who we got in the building today, man? To say this hasn't been a busy week in news, I would be lying, man. It's so much going on in the hip-hop world. It is almost crazy right now, man. And the biggest thing going on right now is this Gunna situation, right? Now, everybody was kind of happy for Gunna yesterday after he got free, right? And that lasted for about 30 minutes, man, until people started to dig into the paperwork and started to wonder what happened and how he got free. Now, initially, the stories that came out made it seem like Gunna didn't, turn his back on anybody and definitely didn't turn his back on YSL. Well, come to find out, it might be a little bit deeper than that. You know what I mean? It might not be that cut and dry for Gunna. And there's a lot of videos out there and a lot of things out there to say otherwise about what's going down with him, man. Now, we're going to take up the majority of the time to talk about that and all these responses from different rappers and other people, man. Even Charleston White made a response, man. Let's play that one early, man, because I thought this was quite funny.
I'm so happy. This is a great day in the black community. Gunna is out of prison. I never thought I would be happy to say y'all, Gunna is out of prison. Now, I'm glad he got out by telling. I think that was smart, Gunna. I'm a
Clowning, bruh, clowning.
Gunna fan now. I'm a Gunna fan now, boy. That's all y'all finna hear my CD is Gunna. I'm gonna tell. That day, Gunna. I'm gonna tell. What? I'm the new Gunna. Yeah, that's the one. Gunna. I'm gonna tell. I was hoping they get Gunna, but they broke him. That's even better. Yeah, they say they got rappers telling now. I told y'all it was gonna be a new day. I told y'all I was bringing snitching and tattletelling and setting the record straight. I'm gonna make it cool, boy. We got Gunna, one of the biggest rappers got on earth. Done agreed to cooperate and stood before the court and said, Your Honor, I want to make this clear. Y'all a gang, right? Yes, ma'am. And you did wrong, right? Yes, ma'am. What anybody else can say that's in the gang? We not no gang. We're a rap group. We're a rap label now. The boys before you that was in this rap label that you trying to say y'all a gang. And people died in the name of this gang. That's
bruh. And that's it, basically, man. You even got Charleston White out here clowning the situation. Now, there's a lot of memes and things going on, but it's also very serious, man. Now, as you guys get in here, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button, run those likes up. The less people we have in here, the more important the likes. So go ahead, hit that like button. And man, besides talking about all the details within this Gunna situation, going over exactly what he said in court, and talking about the responses that everybody made, I want to touch on some of the people who actually called Gunna out by name. You had Freddie Gibbs call him out. You had Boosie call him out. You had Sauce Walka call him out. And there is a lot of people in hip-hop who are not happy with how this went down, man. So, man, let's do this, man. So we can get things started. Let's get to the intro and make things happen that way. Uh-oh. My bad, folks. Look like we having some technical difficulties or something, man, because there we go. Hey, shout out to everybody in the chat right now. Shout out to everybody that showed up. And shout out to everybody who already hit that like button. If you're in here, make sure you run them likes up. And yeah, Gunna's going to take up most of our show talking about him and YSL. Now, the news of Gunna being released from jail yesterday was one of those things that had hip hop split at the end of the day. At the beginning, people were happy. They were like celebrating the fact that Gunna was free. I even did a video talking about Gunna is free, man. And there was a video released of him leaving the court, man. So what I want to do is, let's see if we can play that real quick, man. Gunna actually leaving the jail, man. This is the point where everybody was still happy for Gunna before people started calling him out and calling him a rat out his name. I know there's lots of videos floating around saying that, but we're going to dig deep and really see if this cat is a rat or not. But man, let's play this video.
Why the Alford Plea, Gunna?
He's not making any statements right now, guys. Thank you.
Anything you can say for fans or supporters?
No, we have a... My head's spinning. I haven't slept in a while. We have a press release that I think we issued.
Thank you.
Do y'all have a copy?
Yeah.
I think this is it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Why the Alford Plea, Gunna?
He's not making any statements right now, guys.
And man, to be real, it made a lot of sense once you understood the details in how his deal was structured, because it was still a little confusing for some legal professionals, man, who don't specialize in, say, like criminal law and stuff like that, because it's not too many times you hear of a plea deal called an Alford plea. And that's what this basically boiled down to. Now, Gunna and another guy by the name of Walter, I want to say, what's my guy's name? Walter Murphy. This guy right here, right? Are two members from YSL who have already folded. They've already put in a plea deal. And you would think that this would be bad for Young Thug's case based on these facts, right? But if you leave it up to these two, they say it's other than that because of the type of plea deal that they've signed. Now, there's a lot of people who are coming back on social media that are saying that is not the case at all. That there is no point in this plea deal where Gunna is exhumed from testifying in the future against people within the YSL case, even though Gunna himself made a statement that he put out there. So let's look at that, because at the end of that, that's what they were talking about. They were talking about this right here, which is a statement that Gunna's team put out there. I'm pretty sure they were trying to work retroactively in order to prevent anybody from thinking that he snitched or to try to cover it up if he did. You know what I mean? Because to be real, that's a killer for your rap career. Let's be honest. I know the clip from Charleston White is hilarious, but if you're a rapper, that is one of the worst labels you can get. It's like, it's one of the worst. Like, there's only a couple of things worse than that, but that's one of the worst, definitely, right? So let's look at this statement, man. Now, the statement says Sergio Kitchen's press statement. When I became affiliated with YSL in 2016, I did not consider it a gang, more like a group of people from Metro Atlanta who had common interests and artistic aspirations. My focus of YSL was entertainment, rap artists who wrote and performed music that exaggerated and glorified urban life in the black community. Stop right there. So basically, in this statement, he's already opening up by kind of clearing himself, if you notice that, right? He's saying my focus was to be an entertainer, clearly drawing that line like, yo, I'm an entertainer. I am not a gangster. I ain't in no gang stuff, and I never considered it a gang. Although when we play the video of him in court, it's going to sound a little different than that. Now, he also said, while I have agreed to always be truthful, I want to make it perfectly clear that I have not made any statements, have not been interviewed, have not cooperated, have not agreed to testify, or be a witness for or against any party in the case, and have absolutely no intention of being involved in the trial process in any way. Now, having intentions of being involved in the trial process in any way is a little different than having to be told to be involved in the trial process because of the deal you signed. So it's kind of a play on words. So I'm trying to, when he released this statement originally, it seemed like he was clearing the air and saying, hey, I ain't telling, I ain't doing no type of snitching. And it's not on me to say that this is snitching. It's not on me to say that Gunna is a rat. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is a lot of rappers came out today and said that. One specifically being Boosie, another being Freddie Gibbs. My bad, yo. I ain't telling, My bad. Yo, one being Boosie and one being Freddie Gibbs and another being Sauce Walka. Now, Sauce Walka didn't call out his name specifically, right? But he definitely alluded to that. We're going to get to that video as well, man. So sit back, man. There's several rappers who have addressed this, and we just getting there. So, man, let's continue with his statement and how he's kind of covering for himself in this. That was the main point of that. Now, he ends by saying, I have chosen to end my own RICO case with an Alford plea and end my personal ordeal by publicly acknowledging my association with YSL. An Alford plea, in my case, is the entry of a guilty plea to the one charge against me, which is my best answer, while at the same time maintaining my innocence toward the same charge. I love and cherish my association with YSL Music and always will. See, drawing a clear line there between YSL being a gang or YSL being an entertainment entity, right? He said, my association with YSL Music. So I'm guessing his lawyer probably typed this up for him to keep him out of hot water and to also to push the narrative that, yo, Gunna was not involved in a gang. Gunna was not involved with anything besides music. Now, he says this, I look at this as an opportunity to give back to my community and educate young men and women that gangs and violence only lead to destruction. Now, that sounds like a positive ending. And on the surface basis, when we all saw parts of this, because only parts of this was released to the media yesterday, you know? It was only that middle part where he talks about having no intention of being involved. Well, we come to find out that, yo, just because you have intentions to not be involved doesn't mean they won't call you to the stand, bruh. You know what I mean? Bruh. And it's looking like, based on the deal, and this is all this information I got from social media. So take this with a grain of salt, except for I can definitely say that that's the press conference or the press release that they put out there, right? Now, before we move on, I want to talk about another piece of paperwork that was there, which is this right here. So you guys see this floating around on social media. And basically, this is the first document, or allegedly the first document, of his plea deal. You see here in Superior Court of Fulton County, state of Georgia, all his information, booking information, whatnot. And you see the charge right there. It says conspiracy to violate the Racketeering, Influence, and Corrupt Organizations Act, aka the RICO Act. And it lists in his sentence 5 years, 1 year commute to time served, balance of 4 years suspended. Now it says the defendant is a judge guilty or sentenced under first offender conditional discharge for the above state offenses. So basically, to sum all this up, this is just saying that they commuted his sentence to time served. So all those reports were correct. All that information was correct that was out there, right? Now, if we look at, what does the next one say? I want to say this one right here. Now, in this document right here, I believe they say just a little bit more than that. So this goes on to talk about the fact or the general conditions under his probation, man. And if you look in red, and somebody put, I think 1090 Jake put this out there. Don't, if I'm wrong, I got this off of one of the No Jumper pages, right? It's floating around social media. But you see that red arrow right there, right? And under special conditions, it says the defendant is advised that violation of any special condition of this disposition may subject the defendant to a revocation, and the court may require the defendant to serve up to the balance of the sentence in confinement. So that means if he were to break any of these conditions, he would have to serve the remainder of that 5 year deal that he got in confinement. So he got time served for 1 year. That means 4 years in confinement in jail, right? Or prison. In this case, state prison, because it's in Georgia, right? Now, the defendant shall comply with all special conditions, and you see them X as follows. The parties agree that upon completion of the special condition enumerated in 3B below, the suspended sentence will terminate by consent order. Now, it goes on to say A and B, and it says it'll enumerate it in B, but we'll get to it. It says, if called by any party in this case, you will testify truthfully, but reserve your right to assert your Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination. So what does that mean? That means if he was called in to testify, he has to show up to testify, or that's breaking the special conditions of this Alford plea that he has right here. I mean, in plain English, it says that. Even though sometimes these things are written in legal jargon, this is about as clear cut as you're going to get. Now, it continues by saying, agree to perform 500 hours of community service, complete at least 350, a substantial portion of which will require that you speak to young men and women about the hazards and the immorality of gangs and gang violence and the decay that is caused in the community. You agree that the community service locations shall be determined by the office of the Fulton County District Attorney. I said that yesterday. I said right when I read the very first news article about this, the one that was released by the Channel 2 News in Atlanta, they basically said that, I've said, watch it, he's going to have to end up working for the same people that were just trying to indict him. And that's the case we got here. He's got to work for the same people who tried to indict him. In the very bottom, it says that his the conditions of his community service will have to be directed by the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. So Fonnie Willis and them are going to be the ones, and shout out, no issue with her at all. You know what I mean? She's obviously doing what they do. They got to do a job. It is what it is, right? No bad blood over here. But man, based on this, Gunna's going to have to work for the Fulton County District Attorney's Office in one way or another. And he might be called up to testify. Now let's look at these last two sections right here, man, just to bring this point home and to show that we are not just picking on Gunna. Now it also says this. It says, you shall not possess any guns during the term of this sentence or any time thereafter unless your right to do so is restored. So talking about that, he can't, he's basically copping out to a felony, so he can't own a weapon. You know what I mean? You shall not commit no criminal acts. That's a misspelling or a mistype, I think. But man, signed by Honorable Stephen H. Sadow. Christina Weaver was a court reporter, and then the Honorable Ural Glanville. That's the same judge who's been ahead of this case. So for all intents and purposes, this paperwork that's floating out there seems about as legit as it gets, man. Oh, and speaking of that, man, let's pause for a second. Y'all do me a favor. Make sure y'all hit that like button, man. Run them likes up. Let's go, man. That's for everybody who already hit the like button. We just getting started. So, man, don't worry. We're going to get there, man. We got a lot of rappers to talk about who responded to this. But, yeah, hit that like button for your boy. Let's go. All right, so it continues by saying these things right here. First offender. None of that is important. The best part about that, the biggest part about that was in that second page, man, where they talked about he would have to testify if called upon, man. So we can put that to bed. It looks like if that paperwork proves to be true, that's item right there with the arrow pointing at it, he's gonna have to testify, dog. Like that's it. You know what I'm saying? So man, a lot of people are taking issue with that. And that isn't even the worst part. Like that being in there and the paperwork getting out there isn't the worst part. The worst part is this video that's circulating, right? Where Gunna is basically admitting to the judge and to the court that YSL is a gang. Now, had this not been released and people had not seen this, I don't think anybody would be going hard on Gunna. Because remember, when the information came out that he was free and he didn't tell on anybody, people were originally happy for him. But after that, it was like, bruh, let's go, man. Let's go. People couldn't believe it, man. So let's look at this video of Gunna from the news where they talk about, or this clip from court, I should say, where they show him in court.
By any party in this case, you will testify truthfully, but reserve any Fifth Amendment rights or privileges. Okay,
so this is somebody on behalf of the DA's office, and they are telling him those conditions that he agrees to by accepting this plea deal. And she is telling him straight off the top that you agree to testify. Like you have to testify if we call upon you. So all that stuff he was saying in that statement he released, I don't know about that, man. You know what I mean?
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
All right, let's continue.
Against 500 hours of community service, a substantial portion of which will require that you speak to young men and women about the hazards and immortality of gangs and gang violence, and the decay that it causes our communities.
In court, some startling statements.
Please state after each statement whether or not you agree or acknowledge that the statements are true, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I became affiliated with YSL around 2016. Is that true as it pertains to you, Mr. Kitchens?
Yes, ma'am.
YSL is a...
Now, this is the part that's got everybody hot. I'm going to keep it real, man. This is the part that got people losing it, man, because they're like, it seems like he's throwing Young Thug under the bus. You know what I mean? No matter what you think about what he's saying right now, you got to think about the fact that this is going to have an effect on Young Thug's case later on down the line.
A music label and a gang, and you have personal knowledge that members or associates of YSL have committed crimes in furtherance of the gang.
Yes, ma'am.
You were present when law enforcement officers stopped a vehicle in which you were present along with Jeffrey Williams, wherein hydrocodone, methamphetamines, and a firearm were recovered. These items did not belong to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now, for you guys who are wondering, there was a case a couple of years ago that got thrown into the RICO. It was one of the ways that they were able to wrap Gunna into the RICO case. And Young Thug, Gunna were in one car. And it was a caravan of cars, right? And they were traveling through Atlanta. They got pulled over. They found some substances. First, this case, what's wild about it is this case originally got thrown out. It got, in my opinion, it got brought back up and thrown back into the mix in order for it to be put into the RICO, man. And a lot of people are saying that was a strategic move because, you know, they were peeping that Gunna is the weakest link. You know, he would be the first to fold if possible. I'm not saying he folded, and I'm not calling him the weakest link, but I do hear that language out there a lot, man. So in that case, they found some substances, right? And Gunna and Young Thug were pulled over on the side of the highway. Neither of them claimed it. Things went away, right? Now that it's brought back in this case, he has to remove himself from that case as well, so that's what he's doing right now. But all while doing that, it seems like he's putting the ownership of those substances on Young Thug. I'm not saying that's what he's doing, but that's what it sounds like, bruh.
And do you acknowledge the following statement? I recognize, accept, and deeply regret that my talent and music indirectly furthered YSL the gang to the detriment of my community. YSL as a gang must end. Is that your statement or acknowledgement?
Yes.
Ugh, that's the one that got everybody mad. Right there, bruh. That's the one right there that got everybody hot. Because, I mean, that basically he's admitting it to being a gang, right? But saying that it's a detriment to society, basically painting a narrative for anybody that has any issue with YSL and wants to come at them, especially during this hot time of a RICO, man. So that's why people are going at Gunna, man.
A YSL indictment includes Jeffrey Williams, a.k.a. Young Thug. His attorney, Brian Steele, has said,
Mr. Williams committed no crime.
Yeah, that's what his attorney said. And you seen what Gunna said in the courtroom, man. So it's making things look a lot worse, man. It's making things a lot tougher for Young Thug, or worse for Young Thug, I should say, in his court case going forward. At least that's what it feels like, man. Now, there's been a lot of backlash today, man. A lot of people talking about this situation. And some specifically, man, are Boosie, man. So that video was released, right? And, man, let's do this. Let's go ahead. Before we play that again, I want you guys to look at some of these responses, man. Because one of the most critical people in this situation, it could kind of look at what really went on in court yesterday and really get an idea of how this is going to affect Young Thug in the future, is Boosie. Because he's gone through this. He's done the song and dance. He's actually had a life or death case over his head, right? Where he was looking at life. Excuse me. Yeah, he was looking at life. And he's like, yo, man, this ain't good. Like, this is telling. Where everybody else was still on a positive wave, Boosie was one of the first people to be like, nah, man, forget that. This is telling. Now, in this post right here, you can see he was clear about how he felt about this situation. He said rat with 3 rat emojis, cheese, This would have put tears in my eyes, crying emoji. My brother, my artist, like what the, I'm fighting for my life that I'm not running a gang, criminal enterprise. So basically, I'm fighting for my life that I'm not running a gang or criminal enterprise. You do this to Big Dog, you know it's a gang, the guns and drugs, not yours. Well, who else was in the car? They could be for shaking my head. And basically letting people know that when Gunna said that part, man, when he said, yo, those aren't my guns, I was in the car, but those drugs and those guns were not mine, he's basically putting the onus on somebody else in the car. Now, this is a tough spot that a lot of street dudes find themselves in a lot of times, right? Like, whose gun is that? Who got a case on them? And everybody usually remains quiet. The fact that he spoke out and said something just happened to hit Boosie in a special place where he was like, nah, dog, this ain't right. He's actually telling. Like, he's actually snitching. That's ratting, you know what I mean? And that's why he went so hard on him and put out that post. And if you think I'm tripping, let's compare what Boosie said to the actual video again of Gunna in court.
By any party in this case, you will testify truthfully, but reserve any Fifth Amendment rights or privileges against self-incrimination.
Once again, he already verified the fact that he would testify if he had to.
You agreed to perform 500 hours of community service, a substantial portion of which will require that you speak to young men and women about the hazards and immortality of gangs and gang violence, and the decay that it causes our communities.
In court, some startling statements.
Please state after each statement whether or not you agree or acknowledge that the statements are truthful, okay?
Now, this is the part that got everybody hot right here. Right here. This is the part that got people mad, man, and upset.
Yes, ma'am.
I became affiliated with YSL around 2016. Is that true as it pertains to you, Mr. Kitchens?
Yes, ma'am.
YSL is a music label and a gang, and you have personal knowledge that members or associates of YSL have committed crimes in furtherance of the gang.
Yes, ma'am.
You were present when law enforcement officers stopped a vehicle in which you were present along with Jeffrey Williams, wherein hydrocodone, methamphetamines, and a firearm were recovered. These items did not belong to you.
Now, this part right here is obviously what set Boosie off. This next part. Yeah, he basically put the onus, like I said, on whoever else is in the car because he's already in his plea deal proclaiming that those things don't belong to him.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you acknowledge the following statement? I recognize, accept, and deeply regret that my talent and music indirectly furthered YSL the gang to the detriment of my community. YSL as a gang must end. Is that your statement or acknowledgement?
Yes.
Dang. So basically, in that last part, now hopefully you guys did not miss that. He basically agreed that he was a part of YSL in furtherance of a gang. Like as a musician, he was helping to further this criminal enterprise. Now that's why Boosie's so hot. That goes back to Boosie's statement. Like he basically said that, yo, my role in this was in furtherance of this criminal enterprise, this gang or whatnot. And he agreed to that. Man. Okay, man. I know everybody was happy for Gunna being out, you know what I mean? I ain't too mad at him. I mean, I don't have a dog in this fight, but you can see why Boosie is saying what he says, is all I'm trying to do.
A YSL indictment includes Jeffrey Williams, a.k.a. Young Thug. His attorney, Brian Steele, has said,
Mr. Williams committed no crime.
All right, man. So let's drop that, and let's go back to Boosie's statement. Boosie said, rat, he said, let's go to the middle part. So he said, rat, this would have put tears in my eyes. My brother, my artist, like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? I'm fighting for my life that I am not running a gang/criminal enterprise. And you do this to Big Dog. So basically saying that, yo, you basically threw your dog or Big Dog up under the bus, man. And I don't know, man, it's hard not to feel that way if I'm Young Thug right now, I bet, man. I don't know the communications of what went on between Young Thug, but I know that going forward, Gunna even agreed that he can't talk to anybody else in the YSL RICO. So like trying to make this right with them or whatever, man. This is crazy, man. But obviously Boosie was upset and he didn't like that part of it. Now he didn't end there. So let's continue. Like I said, sit back, relax. We're going to be talking about it. So Boosie also had these things right here to say, which was basically him going off a little bit more about Gunna allegedly snitching, you know what I mean? Or Gunna allegedly telling or throwing a Young Thug under the bus. Now in this, he said he had one charge. He wasn't going to get no hard time. These lawyers don't give a about your legacy. They know what they doing to your name, but they getting you out of jail so they name blows up. Then you got to pay them more when you free, and they made you cooperate. It's a cold game. So basically, okay, let's decode all that. So basically, he's saying that Gunna really wouldn't have got any hard time. I mean, let's be real, man. Ever since the start of this RICO case, we've all been talking about the fact that Gunna is probably the low man on the totem pole, even though they tried to paint him as a boss. Now, with all those extra charges and all that extra weight on him, maybe he felt the pressure. Maybe he was the weakest link out of the bunch and the very first one to crack. Let's be real. He did have a videotape going around, or a video going around, where he was on Crime Stoppers before, you know what I'm saying? Like, people were making jokes like, yo, Gunna gonna be the first person to crack in this situation. And maybe that's the case here. Based on what Gunna's saying, it's not like that at all. But what Boosie knows, and from his knowledge in these type of cases, he feels like, yo, man, you basically threw Young Thug up under the bus, man. And now he's got to really fight against the fact that you already proclaimed that he, as the head of a criminal organization, he ain't never gonna see the light of the day, man. For real. Like, man, god dang. Oh, man. So let's continue. So Boosie also said this right here. Okay, so that's the first part right there, man. So that's the first part right there. So these are the posts that Boosie made in response to this situation, right? And talking about Gunna's involvement and all that, right? Or his plea deal that a lot of people were happy about him getting. And now they're not so happy about him getting, to be honest with you, because it doesn't look like it's going to work out well for Young Thug. And even in the documents, right? Even in the information that was released online, that, what is it? In the statement, let's bring it up. He's talking from a personal aspect and not a team aspect. Like, he isolated himself from this completely in this statement. What is the line in the statement? Let's bring it up again. Okay, so in the statement, there's a line right there in the middle where he says, my focus, it's all me. He didn't account for anybody but himself. I mean, he's a grown man. I get that. He said, when I became affiliated with YSL in 2016, I did not consider it a gang, more like a group of people from Metro Atlanta who had common interests and artistic aspirations. My focus on YSL was entertainment rap artists who wrote and performed music that exaggerated and glorified urban life in the Black community. While I have agreed to always be truthful, I want to make it perfectly clear that I have not made any statements, have not been interviewed, have not cooperated, have not agreed to testify or be a witness for or against any party in the case, and have absolutely no intention. Having no intention is not being, is not having to be obligated to. You know what I'm saying? You might not want to, like, man, I have no intention to do this, but they might make you. You know what I'm saying? He says, I have no intention of being involved in the trial process in any way. I have chosen to end my own RICO case. See what I'm saying? More individualism. He said, I have chosen to end my own RICO case with an Alford plea and end my personal ordeal by publicly acknowledging my association with YSL. So, man, that's crazy, man. Man. Yeah, man. Yeah. Looks like at the end of the day, maybe Gunna was off for himself. You know what I mean? And, he's a grown man. He's got to do his best for him and his music career. And let's be honest, man. Gunna was never built for this, man. Like, I think like a couple weeks from that, before that, he was at like the Met Gala. You know what I'm saying? He was running around with him and Kodak Black. He was with the leather pants on, and it just And there's nothing wrong with rocking leather pants or whatever. But Gunna, I don't think he was ever really about that street stuff. And trying to get him to stand tall in a situation where he has a clear out, it just probably wasn't in his best interest or in his interest at all, to be real with you. You know what I mean? And for Young Thug, that might have some negative consequences. You know, he might have seen more in Gunna than he thought. But as an artist, Gunna is amazing at rapping. You know, he's great in the booth. So I don't know if this is going to have an effect on him at all. Now, what I do know is that hip-hop artists are responding like crazy. But somebody who has responded to this, who's a little bit happy because of his stance in hip-hop, is Charleston White. So let's play the Charleston White video real quick.
I'm so happy. This is a great day in the black community. Gunna is out of prison. I never thought I would be happy to say y'all, Gunna is out of prison. Now, I'm glad he got out by telling. I think that was smart, Gunna.
Oh my God!
I'm a Gunna fan now. I'm a Gunna fan now, boy. That's all y'all finna hear my CD is Gunna. I'm gonna tell. That day, Gunna. I'm gonna tell.
Now, you knew Charleston White was going to have to say his 2 cents in here, man. And he's going viral by saying this, man. So let's go.
What? I'm the new Gunna.
Oh, y'all do me a favor, man. If you ain't here right now, man, we hurting on the likes, yo. Y'all wildin'. We should be at 400, 500 likes or 300, 400 likes right now. So do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button, man. And for those of you who already hit the like button, you already know. Round of applause. So come on, get them likes up. Let's go, man. Let's go. We should be at 300, 400 likes already, man. Let's rock, man. If you ain't here, hit that like button. But let's continue as well, man.
Yeah, that's the one. Gunna. I'm gonna tell.
I'm gonna tell.
I was hoping they get Gunna, but they broke him. That's even better. Yeah, they say they got rappers telling now. I told y'all it was gonna be a new day. I told y'all I was bringing snitching and tattletaling and setting the record straight. I'm gonna make it cool, boy. We got Gunna, one of the biggest rappers got on earth. Done agreed to cooperate and stood before the court and said, Your Honor, I want to make this clear. Y'all,
he loving this too much, bruh. Let's go, man. Let's go.
Gang, right? Yes, ma'am. And you did wrong, right? Yes, ma'am. What anybody else can say that's in the gang? We not no gang. We're a rap group. We're a rap label now. The boys before you that was in this rap label that you trying to say y'all a gang. And
See? And that's the part that will probably have, hurt Young Thug in the end. I'm going to keep it real, man. That's probably going, man. He's right.
People died in the name of this gang.
Yeah, man. Crazy, man. So Charleston White was feeling this, man. He was loving this. He was eating this up, man. Yeah, man. And I think Charleston White is hilarious, man. And he would probably be the person that would like the fact that a rapper is being put out there as telling. But there's some people who aren't feeling this, man. Charleston White aside. And, the points that he made, man. And I'll play it again for those just getting in here. The points that he made, though.
I'm so happy. This is a great day in the black community.
The points that he made, though, about Gunna going to court and saying that, yes, this is a criminal organization. I was rapping and providing, resources and furtherance of this criminal organization. I don't see how that doesn't hurt Young Thug in the future, man. So Charleston White is making some valid points here, bruh. Even though he's a little too gleeful, he's a little too happy laughing about this because it fits right into the narrative that he likes. He's spitting some truth. So let's go.
Is out of prison. I never thought I would be happy to say y'all, Gunna is out of prison. Now, I'm glad he got out by telling. I think that was smart, Gunna.
Clowning, man.
I'm a Gunna fan now. I'm a Gunna fan now, boy. That's all y'all finna hear my CD is Gunna. I'm gonna tell. That day, Gunna. I'm gonna tell. What? I'm the new Gunna. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell. You running with that, huh? I'm gonna tell. People gonna be using that. It's already so many memes out there about this situation. It's crazy.
That's the one. Gunna. I'm gonna tell. I was hoping they get Gunna, but they broke him. That's even better. Yeah, they say that.
And basically, that's what it was, man. It seems like that time behind them bars, you know, say what you want. If you live in a lavish rap life, imagine Gunna's life before being locked up in that Fulton County jail. Fulton County jail has been going crazy too. Like I want to say this summer, there was a time period somebody was losing their life like almost every other week in that joint, right? They got a lot of things going on in there. Plus you got his ops and stuff, his ops by proxy. You talking about YFN and all those cats and all the different gangs that are situated in Atlanta and stuff. So you had a lot going on there, man. And Gunna, he was just at the Met Gala. He was living a plush life. He said, forget that, man. You know what I'm saying? I didn't drop y'all hot albums. I done did everything else for y'all, man.
What more do you want from me?
For real. And he took the first thing smoking up out of there, bro. He wasn't built for it in the first place, probably. But man, let's go.
They got rappers telling now. I told y'all it was gonna be a new day. I told y'all I was bringing snitching and tattletaling and setting the record straight. I'm gonna make it cool. Boy, we got Gunna, one of the biggest rappers on earth, that agreed to cooperate and stood before the court and said, Your Honor, I want to make this clear. Y'all a gang, right? Yes, ma'am. And you did wrong, right? Yes, ma'am. What anybody else can say that's in the gang? We not no gang. We're a rap group. We're a rap label now. The boy before you that was in this rap label that you trying to say y'all a gang. And people died in the name of this gang.
Yeah, man. They got Charleston White out here trolling them, man. And he does well at trolling people. But this fits right into his narrative about rappers, gangs, and all that. Because you know that Charleston White is against gangs. He doesn't like gangs. He's open about that, right? But to have somebody who's loosely affiliated with crack under the, essentially, we'll say, perceived to crack under the pressure, man, he couldn't be any more happy, man. So Charleston White is eating this up, man. Crazy. But, man, what's even wilder is it doesn't end with Charleston White, right? He isn't the only person out there talking. So let's talk about some other people actually in the rap game. Rappers who have spoken out about this. Now, one specifically that I want to talk about is Sauce Walka. Now, Sauce Walka took to social media on his live, and he had some things to say as well. So let's check that out.
So you admit that the firearms was with you in the vehicle on this day?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Do
sir.
you admit? Do you admit that your rap career funded a criminal organization?
Yes, I have.
Yes, it did.
Yes, sir.
Can I go home now?
They going in, man. Oh, man, this is crazy, bruh. Everybody, man, let's play that one more time. But, man, y'all do me a favor. Hit that like button. And if you're in here, make sure you get them likes up. We should be at about 300, 400 by now. But, man, go ahead and hit a round of applause for everybody who did hit the like button. Shout out to my moderators moderating. I see you, Dream Doll. I see you, AZ King. I see y'all, man. All right, man. So y'all hit that like button, and man, let's get back to the video. Oh, let me play it one more time. Ooh, while we're working on this, let's. There we go.
You admit that the firearms was with you in the vehicle on this day?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Do
sir.
you admit? Do you?
Now, he's going through what Gunna said in court and agreed to. That's what he's poking fun of.
Do you admit that your rap career funded a criminal organization.
Yes.
Yes, it did.
Yes, sir.
Can I go home now?
They going in, man. It's been like this all day. Like I said, if that video didn't come out where he agreed to all those things, there still would have been other videos where people went, got the paperwork, reviewed the paperwork, and really started to break things down. That's always going to happen. You know what I mean? And hopefully, I would think Gunna would expect that. But obviously, the threat of him staying in that jail any longer and having to face a RICO case, it had him changing his mind, man. It had him changing up quick. And he didn't waste any time to change up quick either, man. So, man, just in case y'all wondering, man, and I know, let's go ahead and play that, man, for those of you just getting here.
By any party in this case, you will testify truthfully, but reserve any Fifth Amendment rights or privileges against self-incrimination. You agree to perform 500 hours of community service, a substantial portion of which will require that you speak to young men and women about the hazards and immortality of gangs and gang violence, and the decay that it causes our communities.
In court, some startling statements.
Please state after each statement whether or not you agree or acknowledge that the statements are truthful.
Now, this is what everybody is making fun of. This is what Charleston White was making fun of. This is what Sauce Walka was making fun of. These statements right here, these things that he agreed to, because basically, according to the streets and according to those cats who are in the streets that are rappers, they feel like this is rat. They feel like this is snitching, bro.
Bruh.
So let's go.
Yes, ma'am.
I became affiliated with YSL around 2016. Is that true as it pertains to you, Mr. Kitchens?
Yes, ma'am.
YSL is a music label and a gang, and you have personal knowledge that members or associates of YSL have committed crimes in furtherance of the gang.
Yes, ma'am.
You were present when...
That part right there, man. That's the part right there. Where he basically said that, yeah, YSL is a gang, a criminal organization, and I was helping them.
Law enforcement officers stopped the vehicle in which you were present along with Jeffrey Williams, wherein hydrocodone, methamphetamines, and a firearm.
Now, Jeffrey Williams, for those of you who don't know, is Young Thug's legal name. I mean, I'm pretty sure by this point y'all know that. But I just wanted to foot stomp that. So he says he was with Jeffrey Williams, and they were stopped in the car. It's him and Jeffrey Williams. And there was something present in the car, some substances. Who does it belong to?
These items did not belong to you.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you acknowledge the following?
By acknowledging that those items do not belong to him, they obviously belong to somebody else in the car. You know what I mean?
Statement. I recognize, accept, and deeply regret that my talent and music indirectly furthered YSL the gang to the detriment of my community. YSL as a gang must end. Is that your statement or acknowledgement?
Yes.
Yeah, this is almost more damage than the last guy. So a couple of weeks ago, there was another guy. He was in court, and he ended up, admitting to be a YSL gang member, saying he got recruited when he was young and all this stuff, and he was facing a murder case. That went by the wayside, but that guy, he admitted that these same things. But Gunna saying it when he's written in the indictment as an alleged boss in this, it just seems a lot worse.
A YSL indictment includes Jeffrey Williams, a.k.a. Young Thug. His attorney, Brian Steele, has said,
Mr. Williams committed no crime.
So there you have it with that, man. Horrible situation, man, for everybody involved, I'm sure. But for Young Thug, it's probably a little bit worse, man. Now, Young Thug was in court today, all day. And they were arguing some of those little intricate details. We talk about what you can bring in the trial. What about this arrest? Was this lawful? What this wasn't? And there should be some more news coming about that later. But what's also making headlines is one of the other alleged co-founders of YSL turning on Young Thug. So there's a guy by the name of Walter Murphy. This guy right here. Now, Walter Murphy has a YSL tattoo on his head. He alleges to be, he's alleged to be, he doesn't allege it, they allege that he's one of the founders of YSL. And it seems like Gunna wasn't the only one to turn his back on Young Thug, man. It seems like this guy saw the room to make a move, and the fact that he had prior arrests in the past, he decided to move on. So let's talk a little bit about this guy right here, right? This guy, Walter Murphy, right? And I'm going to be referencing this story from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, man, before we get to the video of what he said himself. Now, in this article, it talks about Murphy, according to court documents. Okay, so there's two co-defendants, including Atlanta rapper Gunna, who have entered negotiated guilty pleas ahead of the RICO trial against the alleged Young Slime Life gang scheduled to start next month. So 3 people entered pleas already. So you already know how this goes. If you watched any mafia movie, any of these RICO cases in the past, the person who's the boss or whoever gets left at the end after everybody else did they deal, you pretty much ain't getting much of a deal. You know what I'm saying? You're going to do the bulk of the time. And this guy probably saw the writing on the wall and said, forget that, man. I'm just going to go ahead and cop out like Gunna did. Maybe they didn't work in cahoots or anything like that, but it sure does seem like it. And for Young Thug, this is probably one of the worst outcomes that could happen, right? So him and Gunna ended up copping pleas, along with another guy who was unnamed. But I'm pretty sure his name will come out soon. Now, the Fulton County District Attorney's Office confirmed that Walter Murphy, the guy in the picture here, entered a guilty plea Tuesday, and Gunna, whose real name is Sergio Kitchens, entered a guilty plea Wednesday on a single count of conspiracy to violate Racketeering, Influence, and Corrupt Organizations Act each. So he copped out to the same charge that Gunna copped out to, being involved in a RICO. Now, he had other charges within the RICO indictment, but that's the one he pled out to. Now, according to court documents, Murphy was sentenced to 10 years with 1 year commuted to time served and 9 years of probation as a part of the negotiated deal, the negotiated plea. So he got the same exact deal as Gunna, except he's going to be on probation, or he's going to be on probation for 9 years. So he'll have probation for 9 years after this. And Kitchens, Gunna, was sentenced to 5 years with 1 year commuted to time served, and the rest of the 4 years of his sentence suspended and subjected to special conditions, including 500 hours of community service. He is required to spend 350 hours speaking to young men and women about the hazards and immorality of gangs, gang violence, and the decay it causes in the community, his attorney Steve Sadow says. So he went on to make his statement or whatnot, but it seems like Murphy, because of his prior convictions, his back was against the wall, and it was just maybe too sweet of a deal for him to plea out to one RICO conspiracy charge as opposed to going back and trying to fight against 10 years and these other charges that he have, which include some of, I believe, like shootings and different attempted murders, I believe. So, man, he actually went to the news as well to speak on his behalf. So let's look at that. Because you would think, okay, if you're one of the alleged founders of YSL, you would think you'd be one of the last people to actually flip on Young Thug, you know? But maybe their bond isn't what it used to be because dude has been doing a lot of time in the past. And maybe it just wasn't enough for him to do more time. So let's check this out.
You're facing a tough challenge now. How are you going to get through that?
The same way I got through everything else, with God and my faith.
Murphy is charged along with more than 24 others in a sprawling indictment alleging a criminal street gang called YSL.
I would rather say it was more like a record label or a family. Once upon a time, I was actually a road manager on that label. I spent 7 years in prison. While I was in prison, I stayed out the way, and I just got my GED, competed all my classes.
So he's basically talking about the fact that he feels like he's reformed. You know what I'm saying? He ain't really in the streets like that anymore. And him being wrapped up in the RICO, he had no choice but to plead out. You know? Now, I don't know if he might have had a choice. He could have took it to trial, but that's just not a good idea in these situations, is what the professionals say.
Completed the transition center. I transitioned back into the world. I got me a job at the transition center.
He paid his debt to society.
Hudson says Murphy had been working until last week. The lawyer says in 2015, a prosecutor tried to get his client to cooperate against alleged YSL members, but he wasn't interested.
I did my time like a man.
Hudson says DA Fonnie Willis has mentored him since he was a young prosecutor.
She's my big sister, and I love her a lot.
And he's going to plead Murphy's cause to her, but he knows she's fighting an uptick in crime.
I just want the younger kids to know no matter what you did, whatever you think you're a part of, you're bigger than that, and you can overcome it.
Were you a founder of YSL?
No comment.
So see, at the end there, he never admitted to being a founder of YSL, even though that's the rumor that's out there. And I'm definitely gonna play that and break it down one more time. But I need everybody to focus, get in together and hit that like button, man, or get in here together. I mean, and hit that like button, man. Let's go, man. Let's go.
Bruh.
Let's go. But what you heard from him there is him kind of telling the story of him being a reformed or changed man. Do I buy it or believe it? Or do I think he wasn't looking just into his best interest by taking this deal? Not one bit. But maybe he's speaking the truth. It just seems all too convenient that the DA's office came down with all these deals this week. He got his deal on Tuesday, a day before Gunna got his deal yesterday. So it seems like somebody was working in the back end to make sure that they had enough evidence stacked up in these plea deals to use against Young Thug. That's what it looks like to me, man. Y'all tell me what y'all think, man. Let's go, man. That ain't slick, man. But let's listen to him one more time.
You're facing a tough challenge now. How are you going to get through that?
The same way I got through everything else with God and my faith.
Murphy is charged along with more than 24 others in a sprawling indictment alleging a criminal street gang called YSL.
I would rather say it was more like a record label or a family. Once upon a time, I was actually a road manager on that label. I spent 7 years in prison. While I was in prison, I stayed out the way. And I just got my GED, completed all my classes, completed the transition center. I transitioned back into the world. I got me a job at the transition center.
He paid his debt to society.
Hudson says Murphy had been working until last week. The lawyer says in 2015, a prosecutor tried to get his client to cooperate against.
So you heard that. They were trying to get him to cooperate back in 2015. So in 2015, they were like, yo, man, come over here, man. Let's tell us what you know or whatnot, man, about YSL. We'll get you a better deal. And I guess he just did his time in that situation. This time, he thought it was better to take the plea deal.
Alleged YSL members, but he wasn't interested.
I did my time like a man.
Hudson says DA Fonnie Willis has mentored him since he was a young prosecutor.
She's my big sister, and I love her a lot.
And he's going to plead Murphy's cause to her, but he knows she's fighting an uptick in crime.
I just want the younger kids to know no matter what you did, whatever you think you're a part of, you're bigger than that, and you can overcome it.
Were you a founder of YSL?
No comment.
Yep, he said no comment. Because it's all about clearing his name. I get it, man. I get it. He wanted to clear his name. He didn't want to do that time. I get all that, man. But it seems like the person who's being left out there on an island by themselves is the guy who was feeding everybody, the alleged boss of YSL, Young Thug, man. And maybe that's the whole reason they orchestrated all these plea deals. Maybe that's the reason why they have all these people working against Young Thug in this YSL case. Because with this guy being one of the co-founders and alleged bosses as well, he's getting off with time served. Something seems weird about that, doesn't it? It seems like Young Thug is the big target, obviously, man. That's what these RICO cases were invented for, to get the guys at the top, right? But this guy right here, what did he agree to in his plea agreement? Did he agree to testify against Young Thug? Was he able to say, yo, YSL is a gang and a criminal organization as well, like Gunna did? So, man, it goes to show, man, that all that stuff, when everybody's cool, getting money, all that gang, we this, that, it'd be worth something then, man. But when times get tough and it really comes down, who's really going to be down for you is what's real, man. And that's wild, man. Wild, man. My bad. Y'all do me a favor, man. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button, man. Run them likes up.
Message.
Man, delayed, man, but I was trying to kick the reel, man.
Don't forget, man.
So y'all think Thug going to trial, man? Okay, man. So let's end that segment right there. And let's jump into the chat a little bit and just talk about your theories going forward, man. What do y'all think? Y'all think it's over for Young Thug now that you have this situation where Gunna allegedly bit the cheese, allegedly took the Italian beef and Pepsi? You know what I mean? Everybody already in hip-hop is calling him a rat. And, man, let's talk about this, man. So Freddie Gibbs made a crazy post as well. And I want to show that. So Freddie Gibbs posted, not that right there. He posted this right here. Oh, my bad. That's Perkio. Where's my Freddie Gibbs post? There he goes. All right, so Freddie Gibbs made this post on social media right here, right? And he says, rap full of snitches, so y'all gonna welcome this home with open arms? Now, I'm wondering if this was an after effect when he posted this originally, man. It's not time stamped on there or whatever, but originally, when people found out that Gunna was free, they were happy. Everybody was happy. People were ecstatic, to say the least, right? Freddie Gibbs obviously got caught wind of what was going on as far as that video that was released of Gunna basically telling people like, yo, man, I agree to this. Yes, we were a criminal organization. Yes, ma'am. The yes, ma'am video, whatever, right? And he was like, man, rap is full of snitches, so y'all gonna welcome them home with open arms. I don't even know if this situation, I don't know, man. I can't tell you that rap is full of snitches. I mean, society is full of snitches. That's just how things work. That's how things keep in check, I'm guessing. You know what I mean? Like, there's been studies that, like, if you go to a barbecue, there was like a Boondock skit about that. Like, at one person out of every barbecue or every party you go to is some sort of informant or something like that, right? So, man, yeah, I'm pretty sure there's people in hip-hop who are telling. There was a big rumor that there was a big rapper who was telling or was snitching, and he was working with the Atlanta PD in order to help on these RICO cases. Funny how that rumor went away, man. You know what I mean? Remember that? They were saying, yo, man, there's a rapper, he's working on these Atlanta RICO cases, and he's helping, you know what I mean? And that went away real quick. Like, where'd that story go? Because I haven't seen it come back yet, to be real with you, man.
Message. Never forget, man.
You know what I mean? So is it a possibility? Yes, man. But I think he's just pointing out the obvious and what a lot of people are thinking since that video was released, man. Crazy, man. Freddie Gibbs even joining in and like, yo, saying that Gunna ain't no good. Right? It's crazy. So what do y'all think? Okay, this is the big question. This is the lead up to all this. This is what all this builds up to. Where is Gunna's career after this, man? Like, does he have a future in the hip hop game? Like, is that even possible at this point in period in time? Like, is there an opportunity for Gunna to still, you know, move on through the hip hop, through hip hop as a premier artist? Because to say he's not one of the premier artists, you'd be lying. He's definitely one of the top artists in the rap game to this day. Had one of the hardest albums this year. But with all this, and with him, what seems like taking the easy route and throwing Thugger under the bus, are people going to embrace him and love his music the same going on in the future? Or is he going to get thrown to the wayside like other rappers we've seen in similar situations? You know what I mean? We're going to see if everybody keeps that same energy. Because right now, it's looking ugly in the rap game for Gunna if any of this proves to be true. Now with that, this has been your boy Big Man. Do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here. Peace. Oh yeah, and shout out to my moderators. I see y'all working. Shout out to everybody in the chat. And do me a favor, run up them likes, man. Y'all been busy in here. Hit them likes on your way out. And we out of here. Peace.